My name is Natacha Scott. I'm the Director of History and Social Studies, K-12 for Boston Public Schools. Just to give a scope of the work, this is not in here. We always get this question, 125 schools, about 56,000 students. So we think about the scope, and we have a giant department of 2 people. So we keep busy. Prior to leading the history department, I was an elementary school teacher at the Josiah Quincy Elementary School. Throughout the years, I've had the pleasure of understanding the unique value of primary source from the teacher perspective as a course participant and from the administrator perspective, coordinating custom workshops and programs for teachers. As someone who spends a lot of time thinking about professional development, I can tell you that primary source is in a league of their own. Primary source courses are fantastic learning experiences that balance rich and current content along with strong pedagogy and instructional practices. As an educator in the classroom, I recognize that my time was stretched thin across learning new content, planning lessons, providing feedback, communicating with families, and many other elements of just being part of a school community. Since my time was precious when I participated in professional development, I needed high-quality workshops that included opportunities to explore standards-aligned curriculum connected to difficult-to-find resources. The last thing we want is our teachers spending hours and hours trying to find that just right resource. I knew then, and I continue to believe now, that primary source will always come through and create customized workshops that help Boston teachers learn more about the in-depth and complicated topics embedded in our history and social studies framework, as well as inspire them to think creatively about how they can implement those resources in the classroom. Over the past few years, we've collaborated with Primary Source to design workshops on topics that are vital to understanding Boston's history. Through our History of Boston Busing and School Desegregation workshop, we were able to design opportunities for teachers to explore Boston's story in the context of national developments such as redlining, suburbanization, and activism for racial equality in education. In another workshop, through the work of Professor Marilyn Johnson, we explored immigration and how new Bostonians have shaped the city's development in the last 50 years. Workshops like these allow our teachers access to experts in the field, allowing them to dive deep into content, however, always circling back to strategies on how to connect the content to our students. Working in a majority-minority district such as Boston, where we have 86% students of color, it is important that we systematically include diverse voices and opinions in our curricular choices. Too often, textbooks and historical moments are not representative of our students in our classrooms today. We need our curriculum to be a window and a mirror, allowing our students to see themselves as well as others in the curriculum. Incorporating those different perspectives engages students in the content and acknowledges the unique contributions they bring to our community. Primary Source always finds a way to showcase a myriad of voices and opinions in all of the work that they do, giving our teachers the confidence that they will have resources that connect to the students sitting in front of them. One of my favorite moments, we always have those little flashback moments. So one of my favorite moments was with my 3rd grade students. It began as a classic Friday afternoon. The elementary school, 3rd grade, visualize this, Friday afternoon, everyone's really excited. We were pressed for time, it was the last 30 minutes of the day, we know what happens. And of course we had to start something new. We had content to cover, we had discussions to have. And we decided to still move forward and begin exploring the 18th century Mashpee Wampanoag petition for land rights. Light content for Friday afternoon, which was actually a close reading from Primary Source's straight from the source curriculum. As time, again, slowly crept away from us, I read the document once to the students, and we discussed the purpose of a petition, keeping it very surface, very light, and how it might be presented to the Massachusetts General Court in 1752. As I began wrapping up the lesson, one of my students who was normally disengaged, he's the one sitting on the side of the rug, still in the front of the room, so I can make eye contact every now and then, but classic complaining about having to write in his interactive notebook. He was actually perked up. Looking around. With the last few minutes remaining, he asked, "Can I act out the petition?" And now we know the bell is just about to ring. We have to run and pack our bags. But I don't want to burst a bubble here. I said, obviously. Obviously you can if you practice over the weekend. Right? And when it makes him feel good, we're any of the weekend, we're still on time for buses. The weekend came and went. And as we got to our social studies block on Monday, the student sat down and immediately raised his hand. I asked him, do you have a question? And he proudly said, I don't have a question. I practice this weekend, I'm ready to read the petition. He then stood up, not waiting for me, he then stood up, faced the rest of the class that was seated on the rug, and began reciting the petition. While only occasionally glancing at his handout. He did a much better job than I did at memorizing this whole thing. As he finished reading, he dramatically bowed while the rest of the students in the class clapped loudly. By simply presenting a different point of view in a different form of writing, this student was suddenly engaged and interested in the content. He was sucked in, he was ready to go. As we continue to explore the new history and social science framework that was adopted by Massachusetts just this past June in 2018, I'm excited to create more engaging opportunities like those I experienced in the classroom for students across the district. As Jen mentioned, the new history and social science framework has a heavy emphasis on civic education, including a full year 8th grade course. I am proud to say that Boston is a little ahead of the game. Yes, we're really excited. As a pioneer in this field, we've been teaching civics in 8th grade for at least 12 years. So this new framework has called attention to the need for our students to have a sense of who they are, where they come from, and how they can contribute to their local and global communities. While there's so much talk about civics, which of course I support 100%, the ideas and concepts and focus on student empowerment, that student voice, are all part of the foundation of what Primary Source already does. Primary Source was incorporating citizenship before it was the in concept to do. Primary Source was incorporating social justice, cultural competency, and global understanding before it was a requirement. And as Primary Source implements new programming in civics is only new in name. They have been promoting the concepts that create the base of civics since their founding 30 years ago. I am thrilled that Primary Source will help teachers throughout Massachusetts and beyond to introduce civics concepts to their classroom. It will ensure that the students understand that change is not just for the powerful, but rather, when you look at some of the most monumental historical moments, it is often marginalized and the voiceless who are able to overcome the odds to create change in our society. Primary Source will ensure that students know these stories and that they are equipped with the skills to be agents of change for their own good and for the good of the greater community. Thank you for your time tonight, and thank you for supporting Primary Source. I am so grateful for all that they do, keeping both the needs of our teachers and our students at the heart of their work.